governor and the Oba of Benin peradventure were in the same page, I'm sure that these issues wouldn't have cropped up. So we only pray to God and our ancestors that whatever rifts between the state governor and His Royal Majesties, by God's grace and the power of our ancestors, should.
Clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified. If Oba of Benin and Gov Obaseki were on the same page, this conflict between Oba of Benin and Enigie wouldn't have existed, says Izoduwa. The Enigie capitalized on the perceived disharmony between Governor Godwin Obaseki and the Oba of Benin to seek for independence from the Oba of Benin over the control of their dukedoms. Mr. Izoduwa read the press release by the Enigie and identified all the fallacies in the press statement. He faulted the Enigie for addressing the ex-Enigie of Egbaren, who had been suspended by the Oba of Benin as Enigie. Please sit down and watch Mr. Izoduwa as he gives a critical analysis of their press statement.
Today I want to speak about quite a very important issues as they are coming up, and I'm very happy to be able to be here to share these aspects of our a very important discussion with our people based on our fathers. The Enigie had released a press statement on the 9th of February 2023. So I shared it on the platform already. But I want to deal with the issues raised. So I'll plead. I'm going to be begging our people. I'm going to be begging our people to please pay critical attention to what was written by our fathers, and to also make people understand that there is no need insulting or denigrating the Enigie. The reason is because some of them are largely very ignorant, and some of them are quite very knowledgeable as well, a lot of them. But let's discuss this matter intellectually based on the issues that they have raised. It is not Izoduwa that have raised any of these issues, nor neither every other Edo sons and daughters. This is their press statement. So we're going to be reading them one after the other, and then after which I can now also correlate their press statement with what I have, since it's a matter of quoting of the law. I'm not a lawyer, but the basic understanding I have about what the 1979 Gazette of Traditional Rulers and Chiefs Edit 1979 talked about. So it's going to be very intellectual. So I will implore our people that there will not be any rooms for violence and insult, because we have been accused of being very violent, and particularly I've been told that if anything happens to Enigie, some of the Enigie, I should be held responsible because I was the one who instigated violence against them. So I want to make it categorically clear that I didn't instigate any violence against any Enigie. I didn't say that any Enigie should be beaten or touched. I didn't say anything violent against them. I always said that when they are falling from the grace, that they are prone to be embarrassed by the Edo people. So, but if any of them feel that we've denigrated them, I know some of our people here might not be happy, so I want to apologize on behalf of everybody that we didn't mean to denigrate them. Probably we are very carried away by some of their attributes of their betrayers. So by what they have written, we'll now begin to see whether they were standing on the point of truth or they were standing on the point of betrayal. So we're going to be extrapolating their ideas, their write-ups, and we're going to be laying it bare. Some of their accusations, some of their words, and if there are needs to counter them, we will also counter them. So with all due respect, I would like to read from the press statement given by these Enigie. Press statement issued by the Enigie in Benin Kingdom on Thursday 9th February 2023. Point number 1. We, the Enigie in Benin Kingdom, recall that on the 11th, please, I want you all to pay attention. Don't be distracted by anybody. Please, pay attention. You are not here for anybody. I just want you people to see what is at stake. So, they have written. I want us to digest it. Point number 1. Press statement issued by the Enigie in Benin Kingdom on Thursday 9th February 2023. We, the Enigie in Benin Kingdom, recall that on the 11th November 2022, submitted a letter to the office of the Governor of Edo State, His Excellency Governor Godwin Obaseki, calling on Mr. Governor to exercise the privilege conferred on him by law to create traditional councils in the 7 local government areas of Edo South Senatorial District. This is in the public. Everybody have seen that letter that they are making reference to. Alright? Point number 2. Our request was informed by our knowledge. Now, they have a knowledge of the law. So, and with the copy of the law that they have a knowledge about. Beautiful. So, the traditional rulers and chiefs edict of 1979, that's what they are making reference to. So, our request was informed by our knowledge of the extant laws and awareness that in each of the 11 local governments in Edo North and Edo Central of the state, traditional councils function effectively as vehicles through which Enigie are mobilized to assist in maintenance of peace and order and in other aspects of governance to the benefit of their communities. But Edo South Enigie receives nothing from the state government in that regard. So there are very specific things that is hidden deeply into point number 2. They are saying that they get remunerations from that the 7 local government, the 11 local government, that is 5 local government in Edo Central and 6 local government in Edo North, they receive remunerations. They receive a particular amount of money, all right, from the state government. In this regard, they don't receive anything. So one of the reasons, according to point number 2, why they want to form a traditional councils of their own is that they don't receive money from the state government, or probably that money is being paid to the Benin Traditional Council that don't get to them. Probably. So either two, it's either the state governments are not paying them, or the state government pays them but they don't receive it. So that means point number one, they want to have their own councils on the basis of money. I'll read it again. Traditional councils function effectively as vehicles through which Enigie are mobilized in the sense that has to, the mobilizer is not specific. So I presume that the mobilization that they are talking about is money to assist in maintenance of peace and order, because their always function is to bring peace and order to their respective dukedoms. So they don't need a traditional council created for them to achieve order and peace in their localities. It has always been the reason why they were created in the first place. So it is not about the peace and the order. It is about what I would cycle as mobilized, which I feel that it's about money. Another aspect of government, so benefits of their community, but those sat Enigie receives nothing. So receives nothing substantiates the fact that it's about the money. So I want us to put it in the back of our mind that they are saying why they want councils to be created is because of the money. It's because about the money. So we'll have to pin down point number two. Point number two that they have said, or point number one now, in the case of interaction, is money. So we'll go to point number three, because I want us to first of all get their own points so that we can now begin to address in our understanding. We observe that while the matter is still under consideration, all right, by Mr. Governor, the noble and patriotic intention that motivated the making of our call. So they say that the call that they will need to get money directly from the state government, because it's not about peace and order. I've established that the original function why they were created is to restore peace and order in their respective localities. I think I've spoken about that. So that couldn't be the reason why they need a traditional councils to be created, because that reason has already been given to them from time immemorial as Enigie, as the ambassadors of the Oba of Benin. So it is not about peace and order, it's about the money. So we observe that while the matter is still under consideration by Mr. Governor, the noble and patriotic intention that motivated. So we want to now look at whether there is nobility and patriotism in the intention of the money that they are crying for. All right, that is what we need to divulge. The nobility about the patriotism that they speak about. They said the noble and patriotic intention that motivated the making of our call. So in them they believe that whatever their advocacies are is noble and patriotic. But right in point number one, I have established that what they are making references as nobility or patriotism is the money that they feel that they should be getting, or that they think that they should be getting from the state government. So we will, at the end of our class, we will now know whether it is noble for the money that they're asking. But if it's the peace and order that they spoke about in the point number one, it has nothing to do with peace. It has nothing suspend. Okay. So it has nothing banned from stream. Okay. So it has nothing to do with peace and order that they talked about. That has always been the original function. So they don't need a council. Don't worry, I've blocked him. So they don't need any traditional council to restore peace and order. We're going to speak about that, of how some Enigie have orchestrated some of the crises in different communities in Benin Kingdom. We're going to speak about that. This is not because of Izoduwa wants to also start another civil war, but because we all have had one or two things to do with Enigie, and we all have had one or two things to do with communal settings, and we all can testify how there have been breakdown of peace and order in respective communities. Some of them were orchestrated by some of these Enigie. So I wonder why they are clamoring that they are advocating for peace and order in their respective dukedoms, whereas in all of the times and privileges that have been given to them all these years, they have not been able to give peace and order, restore peace and order in these respective places. So I wonder why they want a full independence in order for them to restore. They have never been, I don't think they have ever been, I think one of the reasons why we'll be talking is that some of these Enigie needed to be watched regularly to see how they are faring. So maybe because of the spaces that have been given to them, they have not been able to give back to the palace. When I mean give back, they have not been able to be responding or giving feedback to the palace how each and every one of these people are faring. Like I said, there are no room for insult. This is purely intellectual. Let's look at what they are talking about so that we can respond intellectually. So I will repeat, we observe that while the matter is still under consideration by Mr. Governor, the noble and patriotic intention that motivated the making of our call has been misinterpreted. So they are saying that we misinterpreted their noble and patriotic intention. So like I said, we have to divulge what is their noble intention, what is their patriotic intention. Is it stemmed from greed? Is it stemmed from actual patriotism or from greed? We're going to look at all of these things as time progresses. Alright? So they are said their intentions, that the letter that they wrote on the 11th of November 2022 was misinterpreted by us, because in this case they are referring to you and I, because my ego has been misinterpreted by a few misguided elements. So in other words, we have been referred to as few misguided elements. We have been referred to as few misguided elements. Okay, so Eri Mayahin, so they are at very free will to insult their children. So we will not insult back, otherwise no someone will do. Has been misinterpreted by a few misguided elements who have been loud on social media. So in other words, they are talking to you and I, most especially me. Alright, so they are responding to you and I. So playing to the who have been loud on social media, playing to the gallery of public opinion. We are not playing to the gallery of public opinion. We created the public opinion because we are the first people who cried out. We are not playing to any gallery of any public opinion. We are the one who created the public opinion. So we also want to put this on the public opinion so that people can see their points and our points. So in continuation, in a bid to excite the ill will of the Omonoba, so they are saying that we are doing all of these things to give a negative impression of them so that the Oba of Benin can deal with them. Alright? Or can sort of see them in bad light. Alright? So that the Oba can see them in bad light. So that's what they are saying, that we were the one who painted them so bad so that the Oba of Benin can see them as bad people, whereas they are not bad. They have noble and patriotic intention. Like, this is the 2 points that they have raised, that they have noble and patriotic intention. So we will look at all of their noble and patriotic intention, with progresses. Okay, so they are talking to you and I that we are miscreants and we are misguided elements, but we'll look at all of that. So they went further. These few uninformed characters, they are saying that we don't know what we are doing. They are saying that we are ignorant of the letter that they wrote on the 11th of November. Alright, so we are purely ignorant. So the point of this live video is to prove to them that we are not as ignorant as they think that we are. So they are saying that we are ignorant. Okay, these few uninformed characters who are publicly resorted to outbursts, hate speeches, and open threats to Enigie over the airwaves have refused to examine our call on its merits. So they are saying that we should have examined the letter that they wrote with an open mind, that there are merits in the letter that they wrote. That because we are very ignorant, that is why we could not open our minds to see that the letters that they wrote. So we agree that we have been very ignorant, but let's proceed. Okay, I refuse to examine our call on its merit, and from the point of view of how the establishment of the traditional councils by the governor, all right, as permitted by law, will impact positively on the well-being of the people and development in the local government areas in question. So they are saying that instead of we discrediting what they wrote, we should have opened our minds to see the merit of what they wrote, that if traditional councils are created, other than having just one traditional council, Benin traditional councils, it will stem up rapid development in each local government, in each of the 7 local governments that makes up Edo South. Instead of there is just Benin City, Aime Ekeya, Wotedo, Nogiran, other than Benin City. So that's the argument, that if these traditional councils are created, it will enable rapid development and growth in these places. So that's what they are saying. They said we should open our heart to see it. So that's what we are seeing. All right. So I'm reading what they wrote, and I'm also interpreting what is written. Okay. So only warning. Let me drink some water. Okay. Okay. In this regard, it is our belief that the recent measures announced by the palace against one of us, His Royal Highness Izoduwa, the Enigie of Igban Siloko, is ill-advised. So they are saying that because of our outburst, because of our ignorant outburst, that could have rubbed off on the palace. Ill-advised. That could have rubbed up negatively on the palace to have suspended, and not in the best, so to have suspended the Enigie. So what they are saying is that the Oba of Benin suspending the Enigie was wrong, because we influenced negatively the decision of the Oba of Benin to have wrongly suspended the Enigie. So that's what they are saying. In this regard, it is our belief. It is their belief now. They are not saying generally. It is our belief that the recent measures announced by the palace, I want us to take note of this. So they are saying that they are faulting that the suspension of the Enigie is wrong. Okay. Very good. So we'll go to the other one. Okay. So for the avoidance of doubt, they went further to say, for the avoidance of doubt and misinterpretation, The functions of the traditional councils in each local government areas as established by law are as follows. So they are not telling us that these are the functions of traditional councils. So invariably, while they are listing all of these functions of the traditional councils, they are inherently telling us that the Benin Traditional Council has not been able to meet with the function of what a traditional council should be. Hence, there is a need to create more traditional councils so that they can meet up with the expectation of what the traditional councils should be. So they went further to list as follows the functions of the traditional councils. Number 1, to formulate general proposals by way of advice to the local government in its area. You and I know that they do that already. They formulate general proposals, they do that already. We are going to give examples. They already do. Number 1, to formulate general proposals by way of advice. They already advise local government councils. And I am showing advice. Local government councils go to see this Enigie and seek for advices and blessings before now. So I don't know why they need an independent traditional council for them to do what they have already been doing. Alright, number 2, where applicable, to harmonize the activities of such local government through discussion of problems affecting them generally and by giving advice and guidance thereon to such local government. Every time okay, so we are applicable to harmonize, we are applicable to coordinate development plans of some local governments by joint discussions and advice. They are already serving all these purposes. Alright. Fourthly, we are requested by the executive governor, as the case may require, by 1 or 2 local governors to assist in assessment of rain. They are always found in government house in recent times. They are always with the governor 24/7. So they don't need an independent. Yes, I blocked him. He came up with another. He used another thing to come. So we are still blocking him. We are requested. So they are already with the state government. So they don't need an independent traditional council to be with the governor at all times. They are already with him to give support for art and culture. Have they been giving support to art and culture before now? Or have they been giving support to their own private pockets? To assist in the maintenance of law and order. To assist in the maintenance of law and order was in the first place the reason why they were created. In the first place. So the function that they were given originally is the reason, the function, if you were created to serve a purpose, you are not serving the purpose, and you now come out many years later and you are saying, oh please, can you not create for me to serve a purpose that you were already originally created to serve? That amounts to that you have an hidden agenda that you've not been able to let the people know. Because in the first place, all of these functions that you say that traditional councils performs were the reason in the first instances you were created. All at best, you were already performing these functions even as being part of the Benin Traditional Council. So the only explanation why you want to get a full freedom is not for the sake of nobility, it's not for the sake of patriotism. It is not as if the letter that you wrote on the 11th of November 2022 lacks merit. If the intentions were genuine, the intentions that they spoke about is a repetition of the intention that they were originally created to perform. What they are saying is a duplication of the performance of their seats, or what they represent, So what they are asking of is what was already given to them. The function that they are talking about that they need to perform, from all of the things that I have read, for all of the things, if I can get it clear, for the functions that all of these things that they need to perform was the reason why they were created. I think maybe some of them to go back to history to know why was the Enigie created by the Obas of Benin. If they know, they will not write this, because everything that they have wrote is the reason why they were created in the first place by the Oba of Benin. So if they don't want to be part of the Benin Traditional Council, is as a result of an hidden and greedy intention. Nothing else. Why do I know that? I know that because all the things that they have written in the press briefing it's already what they have been performing, or it was already the reason why they were created in the first place. To bring development. If any of them decided not to stay in their various homes, how many of these Enigie that are in Orion, or most of them, how many of them stay in their various homes? They all stay in Benin. Why? Were they not supposed to stay in their localities? Have I not complained before that why do Enigie not sit in their various locality to attract development? If an Enoge sit down and bring a proposal and say that, okay, fine, I need this kind of a company, I need this kind of XYZ to come, and they were able to connect with notable sons and daughters of this land, they will be able to invest. Benin people are afraid to invest in their land is because of social unrest. These Enigie have not been able to bring peace and order in their community, and that's what they are clamoring for. They say they want to bring peace and order. The power that they have been given to bring peace and order, they have not been able to use it, rather create disunity amongst families, disunity amongst community personalities, and thereby making people to have disinterest in coming home to invest, and thereby having a lot of Edo people, sons and daughters, not want to invest in Benin, but rather want to invest outside Benin. Don't want to invest in Benin and outside Benin. If any of these Enigie would have been able to sit down, and see that I want this XYZ, write a beautiful proposals, they will have been able to attract different Edo beautiful sons and daughters to come invest in their dukedoms. But they are not doing that. And if they don't do that, how do they attract investment? They don't even sit in their various homes to see the cascade of problems that is bedeviling their people. Most of them sit in Benin City. How do they not solve the problems that are mutilating? So how would they not assure us that if they have this Benin if they have their own different traditional councils, they will be able to do all of these things that they are clamoring for. If at this time we've not been able to see an inch of this kind of development that they are clamoring for. They went further to say, the establishment of traditional councils, listen very well, the establishment of traditional councils at the level of local government areas in Edo South will in no way derogate from the paramount position of His Royal Majesty in Edo State in general and his overlordship over Benin Kingdom in particular. We state that the Enigie remain loyal to the Omonoba Nedu Kwapolopola, the Oba of Benin. Oba Atokbe is said. Now, they spoke about loyalty. I want us to get these things very clearly. They spoke about loyalty, and in this letter, they spoke about like this. Say we state that the Enigie remain loyal to the Omonoba. They spoke about loyalty. Now, remember at the beginning, I want to start faulting. I'm starting to fault their letter now. So I've read all the things that they have said, but I want to start faulting it now. At the beginning of the letter, remember that the press statement was delivered on the 9th of February. Alright? On the 9th of February. So the Enigie, the Enigie of Egbain was suspended on the 4th of February. Listen very well. This is where we start to fault their loyalty. The Enigie of Egbain was suspended by the Oba of Benin on the 4th of February. Now, their press statement was on the 9th of February, yet they still addressed him as an Enigie. He even signed as Enigie of Egbain. So you cannot say, you people cannot feign loyalty to the Omonoba, yet go against his proclamation or his declaration that one of you have been suspended. If you are loyal to the Oba of Benin, you will not have allowed Enigie of Egbain, the Enigie of Egbain, to even appear to even deliver the press statement. This is a form of disloyalty in its first proportion, because the first signature to the press statement has already been suspended by the Oba of Benin, and the rest Enigie knows that you cannot feign loyalty to the Oba of Benin and also allow a suspended Enigie to be part of the people who signed. Fault number one. So this whole concept of their lawyer is a complete badadash. This letter is not Izoduwa that is saying it now. This letter is faulted already. Onwa namo aburu ne baegwa. Oni eme ne gwa hai ma oni eme ne gwa hai. What the palace have said is not correct. So that means they said they want to be independent. If at this time they are not independent yet, what if they now get independent? So that is why I am faulting their patriotism and the nobility of the letter written on the 11th of November 2022. Because this is a case study of Omane Gwahaiwa Moaburu. So what they are saying is that the palace does not have the power to suspend, because they said that we ill-advised the palace. So this is an element of disloyalty. So this point 8 was unnecessary. You cannot feign loyalty when you are not loyal. You are not loyal to the Oba of Benin, and you are telling people that Izoduwa and his colleagues are the one who is making problems. But now your letter has showed you out that you are only feigning loyalty. You are not loyal. Because this Enigie of Egbain, Enigie of Egbain, who signed this letter, was already suspended before this letter was written. Point number 1, disloyalty. So, if at this point they are already disloyal, it means that there are no nobility and patriotism in their clamor call for the creation of Benin different traditional councils in Edo South. Because this letter has already sold them out. I'm not the one who sold them out. Let me go back to point number 1. They make reference that what is obtainable in Edo North and in Edo Central should be obtainable in Edo South. Because you know that all the Esans, Onoges or Enigie are independent from themselves. So no Onoje is under an Onoje. Enigie is plural, Onoje is singular, just like Enogie is singular, Enigie is plural, so there's no need for you to add X. I think they added S to Enigies. So there's no need for you to add X when you are saying Enigie. There's nothing like Enigies. It's Enigie. Enigie is plural, Enogie is singular. So, while traditionally an Onoje in Esa land is equivalent to an Enogie in Benin land, traditionally, but in law, they are not the same. I want us to pay very close because I want to open the law. While in traditional creation, in tradition, in history, in culture, an Onoje in Esa land is equivalent to an Enogie in Edo land. By law, by tradition, by culture, they are the same. Let's note anybody. Most of these were creation of the Obas of Benin. But by law, they are not the same. By law, an Onoje in Esa land is recognized. I want us to pay very keen attention. So when we are dealing with them intellectually, they should know why we are dealing with them intellectually. So by tradition, by culture, by history, an Onoje, quote Izoduwa now. Izoduwa is not longer insulting anybody or trying to create violence. Izoduwa is speaking intellectually now. Why by tradition, by culture, by history, an Onoje in Esa land is equivalent to an Enogie in Edo land, but by law they are not equivalent. By law, an Onoje is a traditional ruler, while an Enogie is a traditional chief. Do we get the gist? By traditions and by culture and by history, an Onoje is equivalent. So that when I do an Onoje is equivalent to the Oba of Benin. No. That's why I'm putting it very bare, very plain. An Onoje can never, at best, an Onoje by traditions and all of that is equivalent to an Enogie. But when the Benin traditional councils were created, these Enogie or Enigie were not created as a traditional ruler. In the first place, they are not even supposed to be addressed as His Royal Highnesses. I'm not quoting law, because they quoted law. The law that they called part 7 of traditional councils, I will read it. Part 7 of traditional councils, I will read it, where they will need the governor. The governor has the power to create traditional council with a flip of his finger. It's by the law. I will read it so that people can see or hear. It's very easy for if the governor wishes to divide Benin traditional councils, it will not take him a flip of finger if he wants to. So that is why I've always said that enya memoir. I have never always been afraid of all of these Enigie. It is the governor who has so much power to do and undo that I'm afraid of in all of this. So if the governor and the Oba of Benin peradventure were in the same page, I'm sure that these issues wouldn't have cropped up. So we only pray to God and our ancestors that whatever rifts between the state governor and His Royal Majesties, by God's grace and the power of our ancestors, should be repaired, so that we will no longer be having people who are taking advantage of that seemingly differences, all right, between the government and His Royal Majesty, between the governor and His Royal Majesty. If, I repeat, if the governor, dated the governor and Omonoba read the same page, for example, do you think these people would have done what they did? They won't do it. They are trying to take an advantage. So that means their intention is greedy. It's a greedy, it's not noble. This is a question that Izoduwa would like to pose. If the governor and His Royal Majesty was on the same page, do you think these Enigie would have done what they did? Because they don't have even power to even suggest. They know that the governor has the power to do it. And they know that there is a sort of seemingly differences. So that is why I question their nobility and their so-called patriotism. I put this question to them. If there were no seemingly differences, they should answer it. If there were no seemingly differences between the governor and the Oba of Benin, do you think that they will write the kind of letter that they wrote on the 11th to the governor on the 11th of November 2022? They will not dare. So, and that is what we question the nobility and the patriotism behind what they said is the letter that they wrote. Moving forward, I have established one very fundamental truth, that however that the Enogies or the rulers in Edo North are equated by traditions or by history and by culture to the Enigie in Benin Kingdom, but however by the law, the Gazette, traditional rulers and chiefs edict in 1979, they are not equated as the same. Why those in Esaland are addressed as traditional rulers, the Enigie in Benin Kingdom are not traditional rulers. By law, they are traditional chiefs. They are not higher than the Iyase of Benin. They are not higher than even the lowest chief. They are not higher than them, because they are all by law classified as traditional chiefs. If anybody say that Izoduwa is lying, let them come out and debunk these heavy statements that I have just made, that by law, by the 1979 Gazette, traditional rulers and chiefs are addressed, the Enigie are addressed as traditional chiefs and not rulers. In the first place, His Royal Highnesses are not even supposed to be attached to their names. It is by the benevolence of the same Oba of Benin. We are not quoting law. Remember, they said that these few uninformed characters, that is what they refer to us. Let's not go very intellectual. No Enigie in Benin Kingdoms, they are not traditional rulers. They are traditional chiefs. So by law, they should not equate themselves to those in Edo Central or in Edo North. That is what I'm saying. Now, look at where they draw their strength from. Look at where they draw their strength from, which they quoted on the letter that they wrote to the governor. Part 7, Traditional Councils. I want to read it. The military administrator may by order establish for anyone or more local government areas, a traditional council, and until the executive council otherwise determines, there shall be established for the various local government councils in the states the traditional council specified in the third schedule to this edit. So in other words, what the part 7 is saying is that the governor has the power to create traditional councils. The governor has the power to say from henceforth it will not be Oriomon Traditional Council, Uwonde Traditional Council, Ovia North East Traditional Council. It has a power. That's what the law says. But there is a clause to the law. I might not be a lawyer, but maybe every other person can interpret it once when I'm done to interpret it. I'm interpreting this law by my own little knowledge. Any other person can interpret it. Now, part 2 says, a traditional council, listen, a traditional council established under this section shall consist of the president, who shall be a traditional ruler in the government, in the local government area. 2, that is B, all the other traditional rulers in the local government area were applicable. Now look at it. Why the governor has the power to create traditional councils, but the law, the edict said that the traditional council must have a president, and that president must be a traditional ruler. I don't want any insult, please. Let's not insult. Let's have a conversation devoid of insult, please. Let's speak about what they said. Like I have said, by part 7 of the traditional rulers and chiefs edicts, the governor actually has a power to do the undoable. Let's get that one clear. So if anything has not happened, it's because of the governor don't want it to happen. Let's get it very clear. The governor has the power to do this. Understand this. I don't want us to be very sentimental, emotional about these things. This country was created in a way that traditional rulers, the local governments are powerful than traditional rulers. The governors are extremely more powerful than traditional rulers. We know that. So the governor has the power. The governor has the power to do and undo. So let's have that one in the back of our mind. That is why I said, Oba Enigie, I'm concerned about. It is the governor. Now, the law, the edict states that the governor has the power to create traditional councils, but there is a catch. The catch is that the traditional council established under the section shall consist of a president, and that president must be a traditional ruler. So without a traditional ruler, there cannot be a constitution or traditional councils. That is the catch. Without a traditional, they have to find a way. In Nigeria, they have a way of maneuvering things. Let's not get too excited about this clause or catch. They have a way of maneuvering things if they really want to. But the catch is, for them to create a traditional councils, they have to have a traditional ruler to be the head of the traditional council. And in this case, only the Oba of Benin is the only traditional ruler in Edo South. The Enigie of Egbai cannot be a president of any traditional council if Ovia North East, Ovia North or Ovia Southwest, or the Enigie rather, if it is constituted as a traditional council, because he is not a traditional ruler by law. Is just a traditional chief. I had to go back to this and try to study some of these things. A lot of these things do not make sense to me, but the ones that easily make sense to me. In other words, only the Oba of Benin is the only recognized traditional ruler by law in Edo South. So if traditional councils are to be created in Edo South, other than Benin traditional councils, they will need to either upgrade these traditional chiefs to a traditional ruler, or create a traditional ruler. And I don't know how they are going to do that. That is what I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. But as at by law, only the Oba of Benin is the only traditional ruler in Edo South. Every other persons in Edo South are traditional chiefs. Tafu begigbe now. That is what the law says. But like I have said, I have questioned. We don't want to terrymans. I understand what you're trying to say, but let's be, like I said, let's not be emotional about these things. Let's free our minds from all of those emotions, blah blah blah. Let's just say it the way it is. We know by God's grace and the power of our ancestors, it will not get to there. But I'm just saying, let's brace our minds for even the worst case scenario. That is what good planners do. You understand? So I am bringing these things to the fore, devoid of insults, devoid of and all of that. I didn't do that. I didn't do that. They said I'm the one who is breeding violence. I've had text messages on my phones. They even have my direct number, that if anything happens to any Enogi, you understand, blah blah blah. Okay, I'm not a violent person. I address issues intellectually. Except when I also react by the anger that you have put in me. But that does not mean that I have said blah blah blah. So let's understand what the law has said, and that is what I have learned very plainly. So the concept of what they called nobility, the concept of what they call patriotism, I Izoduwa doubt that, because most of the communal crises and clashes, some of them, not most, some of them are being orchestrated by these Enigie. And these are the same people who are clamoring that if this country is created for them, they will restore peace and order. When they have not been able, even with their little independence, they have not been able to do what they are clamoring for. What if they are now fully independent? They are going to cause chaos in this land. Most of even the social issues that gets to the palace were supposed to, at the local level, at the level of these Enigie, are supposed to be resolved. But they don't resolve all of these issues. But what we need to do as a people is, let's find a way to resolve our issues outside the social media space. If people accuse me that I was the one who brought it into the social media space, it's so larger. Because when I felt that this is what is going on, what has never happened before, and I dug deep, I've done the research. They said Ailu no Edo Ebueku Oba Ebueku. Ailu no Aro Oba Bun here. And listened so to both to our side from the perspective we were thinking from, and their own perspective was revealed by their own press statement. And from their own press statement, I can vividly say that there's nothing noble and patriotic about this move. There's nothing patriotic about this move or noble. If they said is noble and patriotic, it may manivie do with mama koyo, because they are not going to be governing lizards. They are not going to be governing bushmeat. They are not going to be governing trees. They are going to be governing Edo people like us. And these same Edo people that they are going to govern, Mawi Mama Koyo, that there is only one council that will be recognized, that should be recognized, that internally will be recognized, as far as DOSAT remains, will be Benin Traditional Council. And that's the stand. So, Mama Koyo, if that's the case, Mama Koyo, there are other ways we can sit down and evaluate how we can bring development to each localities without having to bacanize the Benin Traditional Council for hidden agenda, selfish reason, unnoble and unpatriotic moves. There are ways that we can sit down and I begin to talk to ourselves and find ways where we can bring development, peace and order to each localities. We cannot begin to talk. The Enigie and Orion can hold seminars, inviting all Orion sons and daughters all over the world to talk. These are practical ways. This will yield more result than the balkanization of Benin Traditional Council. Even if you balkanize the Benin Traditional Council and have traditional council, how are we sure that you'll be able to manage your own traditional councils? That is where we fought. That is where we fought. So, it is not there are ways that we can bring development to each of the local governments without balkanization of the Benin Traditional Council. And that's our final conclusion on this matter. Let's find ways to bring development to, if there's an only Benin City or develop, we can find ways to bring development to Oriomo, Ngunde, the Ovias, some part of Igo, even some part of Igbobaha. You understand? Then some, even there are some part of Oredo like War 2. We can find ways to bring development to those areas if we cannot start having different local government conferences or summits where we can invite prominent sons and daughters from this local government and I begin to fathom ways how we can bring area with development in live way, how we can submit a proposal to every sitting government that okay fine, we want to create a gas plant or we want to create a tech industry in Orion. We will be able, if it will cost $1.5 million, we'll be able to, we as Orion sons and daughters will be able to raise $500,000. The government should help us like a content funding, be able to raise the other $1 million so that we can create jobs and employment, so that we can open and bring infrastructures to Orion local government. This is how we should be thinking, not through balkanization of Benin Traditional Council. If any of these ideas has it occurred before, if any of these Enigie have thought about these ideas and Obanak Bodenyo, then they will have a good rationale to question the sincerity and the development stride of Benin Traditional Council. They are not coming up with these ideas, yet they are faulting that the Benin Traditional Council is inhibiting the development of other local government outside Benin City. No, even that's the function of the local government chairman. The only way they will not, according to you, Sophia, the only way they cannot be slaves anymore is for them to drop that title, because you cannot keep that title if you regard them as slaves. For example, if you regard them as slaves, like you have said, you cannot hold on to a slave name, according to you now, and still want to get a freedom. The only way you can break free for having a total freedom is that you just come out and say, I don't want to be an Enigie. You drop the Enigie title. You drop the Enigie title and give yourself another title. So you cannot be an Enigie, and you said that, according to you, you said Enigie are slaves. But some of them, of these Enigie, they are way richer than what any of your family members can own. I don't think any slaves can be as wealthy, according to this lady or whoever she is, or he or she is, could have been as wealthy as these people. All right, some of them are extremely wealthy. So, a slave is even war. A rose resin. So anyway, but that's not that's not even the issues. I've dealt with all of these issues as best as I can. So while we look at some of these issues, other issues can be raised. We understand that I completely also agree with other suggestions that there are also some very unscrupulous elements within the palace wall. I've always never failed to speak about these demonic, devilish figures within the palace wall that is taking our kingdom 200 years aback. But we'll continue to pray to God and our ancestors that only those who really mean well for this kingdom should be found within the palace walls and territories. We need reformation, no doubt. The enemies within are enabling the enemies outside. There is even little that I can do about that, but we'll continue to pray for God and our ancestors to help us, to help the current monarch to take the right decisions to lead his people to where they truly deserve to be. So that is all I can say. God and our ancestors will continue to guide His Royal Majesty to make the right decision, to surround themselves with only those who really mean well. We could only pray. There are some persons who have sworn, who are inside and want to destroy the kingdom. We know all of that. And although you know, we're outside the palace. So, but we that addresses issues with all the purest of intentions. Sometimes things I say is of the purest intentions, but might create some havoc. So I continue also to pray for myself that God and our ancestors should put the right words in my mouth to speak when it is necessary and not to speak when it is not necessary. But what I cannot do is to fold my hands and watch people stand who really do not know the history, the rich history of this land, to want to degrade or destabilize our kingdom. I'm an outsider just like every one of you. But the kingdom belongs to us. We must protect it with everything that we've got. And we must always pray. I will try to do Osa or Oba. So the Oba of Benin is not perfect. I always say that. He has all his imperfections. But he's our Father. It's only God that is perfect. Alright? It's only God that is perfect. No. I hope you are not placed under duress of anything. No, nobody can place me under duress. But sometimes, not all times that war brings answers. Not all times that war brings answers. Sometimes diplomacy might just be the only way out. Alright? Diplomacy might be very key. Diplomacy might be very key. So we'll continue to pray while we collectively fight for the kingdom in all awesomeness. So, if peradventure by the law I've been able to establish that whatever clamoring doesn't seem noble or patriotic, like they are trying to garner public sympathy. We are not the one who's getting public sympathy. We are the public. They are trying to get our sympathy. We are the public. And we are the public. We are also telling them that if your intentions were genuine, Well, the word perfection and imperfections are relative. Even the Oba of Benin prays to God Almighty. Only God that is perfect. As far as we are humans, He's our God King. But He has elements of human capacity or capabilities. So they are bound to be imperfections. Those imperfections are not misinterpreted as fault or injustice. So don't get me wrong on that. Alright? So I could only pray that God continue to guide, God and our ancestors continue to guide our revered monarch exceedingly to be able to be a father figure to all of us in this land. Osa or Simioba. Having said that, I want to thank all of you who have not wavered in all of this. Meya Gualokia way. In all of this, I keep saying this. Ave agboyame ba lovie fiunda obokpa. They have their own mindset. We have our own mindset. Let time and history be able to prove which one had the best of intention. Let time and time be able to prove which one ogile wemedo. Ogile wemedo. So I know a lot of persons are very quiet about all of these issues. But I hope they will be able to see through the rules and be able to understand that why we fight is because of the contest of Edoegia Werie. Edoegia Werie. That is the concept that we fight. Irrespective of our seemingly differences, irrespective of how we conceive issues or how our mind process some of these issues, we have Vasaya Bitanie where Ibaragmo where Ebodomu Voramege Kwe blah 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 blah. Mayara Agmonia Gasimo Segedo. So that I retire here in 100 years time that the Bawaro will get wide the second. More wakakabog binanedo. Wayara Agmonia. Gasimo Segedo. So all of these issues that we speak about, that Edo can never be divided, is a contest that we fight for. It's a contest that we fight for. Edoegia Werie. It's a contest that we fight for. Not that even winner. I'm a very hard-working Edo man. That is why people don't see me frequently. I always say it. A day Sunday I had him in Nigeria. But look at me right here. Striving, bringing law. It was RTA. 3 years ago, Izoduwa was spending almost 16 hours reading Benin history. But I can't even have 1 hour or 2 hours to read history anymore. Now in mathematics, how do I say 100 by 100 in my new estate? Omani good doctor, 100 million. How do I pay in the next 10 months? These are the only mathematics. These are the only things people will not understand. But if I still take out of that time, a lot of persons who are in my present circumstances will not even have time to do the things that I do. It's because some of us genuinely love this land. If I still do what I do, it's because I genuinely love this land. Without any form of recompense. Without any form of recompense. I mean, but they have not been able to prove at what time that anybody had to pay me or do anything for me for what I do, for what I love doing, and that is what I am doing now. If anything happens, I run around. I call my brother he calls me. In short, sometimes it's a WhatsApp message I will pop up with phone. If I receive any WhatsApp message from him now, either is Alobua or Visunu, you know, WhatsApp text. Another wahala. Then I will just call my phone. The first person I will call, I will just call Oba Enigie, which is a very patriotic Edo song. Osaze comrade Osaze Gabi me bepa. Awa me will analyze issues. Awa we analyze issues and we know the way forward. Then I call my secretary Usareme and we all say we analyze and we analyze forward. You have 1 week, 2 weeks. You give me away. The matter now how I deal with. How I go back to my work. Or I 2-3 months. Or I staff work. I was trying to deal with it. So all of this, people should understand that it's not easy for me. It's draining. If I had my way, if I was God, I would have just made everything peaceful. But fight is necessary so that people can know that the peace and the tranquility, going by the concept of the Edo warrior, is because of the blood and sweat of the citizenry of the kingdom that has made the concept of Edo warrior has lived on for eternity, and it will continue to live on. People fought for this land. People stood by the throne all these years. And that is why we still could say Edo warrior. And people will have to still stand by this land, stand by the throne, for we to continue to have Edo warrior. Otherwise, the concept of Edo warrior is as a result of the blood and sweat of some of his citizenry who put it upon themselves that we must protect the sacrosanctity of the throne and the land, irrespective whether it is pleasing to us or not, whether it is convenient or it is comfortable for us or not. So that is the message I have to say today. I feel like if but anyway, in conclusion, in rounding up, Queenie Oloyi Day is February 14th, 2018. Association of Great Benin Descendants started this idea that has now gone viral. I've seen a lot of groups that are now running. They are very happy. A lot of groups in Benin all over the world will be celebrating February 14th as Oloyi Day. But don't forget to always remember those who came up with the idea. Izoduwa, through his group Association of Great Benin Descendants, bettered Queenie Day February 14th. And this is an idea that has come to stay forever and ever. So while you are celebrating it, while you are no invented Derio, you understand? You must give honor to who honor is due. I deserve some accolades. I deserve some accolades. 2018, in my room at Ekenwan Road, the thought came, why would there be February, why would there be Valentine's Day when Eden did greater things? And today I'm happy. Some people send me some pictures. There'll be conference, Canada World. Some people are doing art exhibitions that day. But in all of these, I am happy. It is not, the ideology was meant to be for the entire kingdom, was not to be bottled by our association or one group. But give honor to who honor is due. While you are doing that, they tell your children, you understand? I mean, people who invented cars, who invented telephone, who invented electricity, who invented protons, who invented atomic bomb. Remember to do all those scientific invention. When I invented a day, which is Oloyi Day, So I deserve some accolades. Because all my way came Latin, we invented. So that's why I'm saying that me through my group association of Great Benin Descendant came up. But July this year, Izoduwa will also invent another day. I don't want to preempt anybody, but another day this July this year will also, in the next 5 years, I'm sure everybody will also be celebrating it. So like I said, I'm an historical revolutionist. So I thank all of you. So for those who are able to celebrate, that day is the day for love. Show love to yourself, your family, and to everybody around you. It is most very important. That is the attribute. And the message is to our ladies. I will give an opening. I will give an early morning speech. Maybe I'll do a live video, but it will be in the early morning on the 14th of February, speaking about the attributes of Queen Edens and how our women, why do women need to imbibe our attribute. They will need to imbibe our attributes. So you only says so either ways so I thank all of you. Walao, let's do better. Let's do better. Let's do better for this kingdom. If anybody by words or by words, if anybody by words have wronged you, forgive them. Irrespective of those who have wronged us in this Benin kingdom, or irrespective of those who we have wronged, they should forgive us, just like God has forgiven us our sins and trespasses. It may be quoted Bible, Enigie church. But in other words, I feel that we can do better as a people, preaching the good works of unity amongst every those sons and daughters, irrespective of whatever ideological differences that we have. Some people in Benin do not believe in monarchical government. Funny enough, 600 years ago, some people didn't believe either. There were some people in Benin, that believed that there should not be an Oba or there should not be an Ogiso. So if we are seeing an Edo man or woman who also believe that there shouldn't be an Oba in 2023, it shouldn't be a cause for concern. They are minorities. They will always remain minorities. But that does not mean that they are not an Edo man because they are thinking the way that they think. They were Benin people who thought like that 600 years ago. If some of us are not aware, maybe in any of our subsequent classes we could talk about some of those history. But it didn't change the existence of the throne. It didn't take anything from the throne. The throne remained till now. If any people are still thinking the way that they are thinking now, it won't change anything from the throne. The throne will always remain. In every societies, even in Britain, there are people who believe that there shouldn't be a monarchy in Britain. In all over societies, there are people who always believe that some certain institutions should not exist. But it doesn't take their citizenship. But they are always minorities. And that is what is most important. So they should always make us some afana. Now so you are the popori umare ni mwe 1 crate of stout. Start me wa ye na. My mo 1 crate on how that beer. Wa agboru. You understand? Now let you dey enjoy. Me real live video now. I do my drink. I just do my drink. In congratulations my brother Akbega. Congratulations my brother. But now let you dey enjoy your fatherhood. Now wow. We do where spread the we have to spread that happiness. You understand? So you have to wet ground. Me take day. Me take day. So you spread the love around. So anyway, we that are still bachelor, we are coming on our way gradually. Forgive I wait a grand in then go and marry I will shock all of them very soon. Why say go and marry? Fair wet grand say marry so I was no work when I was woman man. So it's all the pipeline. Wow do you are your posters married man? You soon hear the news say I don't marry. Well, yes, say I don't marry. Well, yes, say woman don't born triplet for me. Oh, yeah, do bad guy. Anyway, congratulations to you, my brother. I'm so very happy for you. What am I? Where am I do? We are zibo my. Wow. We has good money and all of that in mind now. Otherwise, while would day. So ne do ni mose ne o ekwere. So do we my do. My year do what? Or 3-4 years. One man. Again, what we call if it once in a week, you know, so you start imbibing the history, the culture. So people should start having a time once in a week or twice in a week where they will start telling the stories of the land to their children, most especially when they railway board, so that they can get very interested in the things of this land. They will be intrigued by the stories that you tell them. They will love this land because our story, our history is beautiful, it's amazing, it's attractive. There's no way honey lasts for 10 hours. The child must listen to that story. Most especially you add all those drama, you know, add all those drama. So that's how you raise your family. I took her to my Madam Eve, when are you bog Abu said to my anytime I come to UK, which I will come very soon, I will come to each of our houses. I'll come and do Edo language inspection. Edo language inspection. It doesn't then. It doesn't. It be. It you KKB. So if you are passed, I'll mark it and I'll announce it. While we fail, they were agba asao or we were agba asao. Or saloba we ni ka ori oni. So so I thank all of you. God bless all of you. So I'll see you guys very soon. So when we have all that conversations to have. But I thank you. Please, February 14th is not Valentine's Day. It is Oloi Eden's Day or Queen Eden's Day. So take note. So celebrate, share love, share the history, talk about it, Tell everybody who Queen Eden was, her sacrifices, her love for the kingdom, her love for her husband, what she represents. It is a story that the world must know. It is a story that we must tell the world. So thank you. God bless all of you. Oba Enigie talk by.